When you begin to understand that true attraction doesn't start with the physical, but rather with the invisible energy you project, you unlock a power that most people overlook. Think about it for a moment. Have you ever walked into a room and felt drawn to someone before they even said a word? It wasn't the clothes they wore. It wasn't even the details of their face that pulled you in. It was something unspoken, an energy, a vibration. That's what I mean when I say energy comes before physicality. A man doesn't first become addicted to the shape of your body or the touch of your skin. He becomes captivated by the presence you bring, the confidence that radiates, and the magnetic frequency that makes him feel alive in your company. Men don't always realize this consciously, but they can feel it. They're pulled toward it like metal to a magnet, and once they experience it, they don't want to let go. When you carry yourself with vibrancy, you communicate that you are whole, complete, and filled with life. That very wholeness is what creates the space for desire. A man feels addicted to the energy because it awakens something inside of him that he can't get anywhere else. It's not about trying too hard. It's about being tuned into yourself so deeply that your natural glow becomes irresistible. Energy has a frequency. And when you walk in self-belief, when you walk with grace, when you walk with a sense of knowing your own worth, you shift the air around you, the way you sit, the way you move, even the way you breathe. It all speaks. Without uttering a single word, you are saying, I am confident. I am powerful. I am magnetic. And when a man receives that message, it penetrates deeper than anything physical could, because it's not just appealing to his eyes, it's stirring his emotions and his subconscious mind. You see, physical attraction is everywhere. Booty is everywhere. But the energy you bring, that is unique. That is yours alone. That is the piece that no one can duplicate. And this is what men crave when they say they can't stop thinking about a woman. They are not thinking about her body alone. They are thinking about the way she makes them feel, the way her presence lingers in their mind. That's energy. That's the unseen force at work. The invisible magnet that holds their attention long after the physical encounter has passed. Now let's talk about confidence, because confidence is the foundation of this energy. Confidence isn't about arrogance, and it's not about pretending to be something you're not. It's about standing firmly in who you are without apology. When you believe in yourself, when you carry yourself as if you deserve respect, a man cannot help but feel pulled in. He feels your self-assurance, and that in turn makes him feel more secure around you. Men are wired to respond to that strength. They may not say it out loud, but it creates an addiction. Because your confidence makes them want to rise up to meet your level. It challenges them in a way that excites them. Energy is also about presence. Are you fully there when you're with him? Do you listen, really listen? Or are you distracted? Do you bring warmth in your tone? Or is your mind elsewhere? Presence is a rare gift in a world full of distraction. And when you give it, it is intoxicating. A man feels special in your presence because he knows you are offering him more than your body. You're offering your full attention, your full energy. That makes him addicted because he begins to crave not just the physical closeness, but the emotional and energetic closeness. Think also about the way you move, the rhythm of your walk, the subtle sway, the pauses in your gestures. These are all extensions of your energy. Men pick up on this unconsciously. They feel the softness, the strength, the calmness, or the passion in the way you carry yourself. Energy lives in your body language, in the sparkle of your eyes, in the way you hold a gaze a second longer than expected. These are not forced techniques. They are natural extensions of an inner state that is rooted in your own self-awareness and inner power. And here's something most people never consider. The energy you carry before intimacy determines how powerful the intimacy becomes. If your energy is grounded, playful, confident, and open, then the physical connection transforms from an act into an experience. It becomes something he cannot forget, something he craves again and again, because it wasn't just physical. It was charged with energy, with emotion, with meaning. That's what makes it addictive. That is what separates an ordinary encounter from something unforgettable. Men can find physical attraction in many places. But when a woman can merge physical beauty with high vibrational energy, she becomes irreplaceable in his mind. That combination is rare, and it's the rarity that fuels addiction. He's not just addicted to your body, he's addicted to the way your energy shifts his mood, awakens his passion, and makes him feel more alive. To build this energy, you must first cultivate it within yourself. It comes from taking care of your mind, your body, your spirit. It comes from doing the inner work, self-healing, nurturing your passion. Because when you are full, you radiate fullness. When you are joyful, you radiate joy. And when you are grounded in your feminine power, you radiate an energy that feels like home to him. That is what keeps him coming back again and again. There is something undeniably powerful about mystery, something magnetic about the balance between what you reveal and what you keep hidden. When a woman understands this, she steps into a kind of attraction that doesn't fade quickly, because she awakens a man's natural instinct to pursue, to discover, to chase. Polarity, the dynamic pull between masculine and feminine energy, is the essence of desire. It is the dance of opposites, the spark that ignites chemistry. A man doesn't become addicted because everything is handed to him easily. He becomes addicted because he feels the thrill of pursuit, the fascination of unraveling layers, and the tension between openness and secrecy that keeps his mind alive with curiosity. This is where mystery becomes your ally. Think about the nature of human desire. What we cannot fully have, we want more. The moment something feels too accessible, too predictable, it begins to lose its charge. This is not about playing games or being manipulative. It's about embracing your feminine power in a way that honors the natural rhythm of attraction. When you open yourself just enough to make him feel invited, but still hold back enough to keep him guessing, you create a magnetic field around you. He can't help but lean in, wanting to know more, craving the parts of you that are not immediately visible. That craving is what plants the seeds of addiction. Men are visual, yes, but they are also deeply psychological. When you weave mystery into the way you present yourself, you give his mind something to chase even when you're not around. It might be the way you look at him and then look away, leaving him wondering what you were thinking. It might be the way you reveal parts of your life slowly, layer by layer, instead of pouring everything out at once. It might be the subtle confidence in your silence, the calm in knowing that not everything about it is for everyone to see. This aura of restraint, this conscious balance of revelation and secrecy builds polarity. The masculine thrives on the challenge. The feminine thrives on being pursued, and together that creates the fire. Polarity is about contrast. Masculine energy seeks direction, action, conquering. Feminine energy thrives in flow, mystery, and magnetism. When you embody your feminine essence, softness, unpredictability, emotional depth, you naturally create polarity. A man feels pulled towards you even if he doesn't understand why. He may have been with women before who were physically attractive, but when you embody mystery and polarity, you make him feel something deeper, something unfamiliar that he cannot explain. That's why he keeps coming back. He is addicted not just to your body, but to the feeling of constantly discovering you. The most powerful part about mystery is that it awakens imagination. A man's imagination is one of the strongest forces you can tap into. When he's imagining you, when he's thinking about what it would feel like to know more of you, when he's fantasizing about the parts of you he hasn't yet uncovered, that's when you've entered his mind in a way that is difficult to remove. The imagination fills in the blanks because you've left those blanks open. He creates a version of you in his mind that is even more powerful than reality. That version lingers with him, keeps him awake at night, makes him check his phone, makes him anticipate your presence. But let's make this clear. Mystery does not mean coldness. It is not about withholding affection or creating unnecessary distance. True feminine mystery is warm, inviting, playful, and full of depth. It's about knowing when to open the door a little wider and when to close it just enough to keep the anticipation alive. It's the rhythm of give and hold back, the rhythm of intimacy and space, the rhythm of allowing him to feel he is earning more of you as time unfolds. That rhythm is intoxicating because it's not linear, it's alive, it's unpredictable. Think of mystery as the music behind the dance of attraction. Without music, dancing feels mechanical. Without mystery, attraction feels flat. But with the right melody, every step, every movement feels richer. Mystery gives flavor to desire. It makes the simple act of conversation feel charged. The smallest touch feel electric. The slightest glance feel like an invitation to a secret world. And that's what makes him addicted. He doesn't want to lose access to that world. He doesn't want to lose the feeling of being intrigued, challenged, and magnetized all at once. When you master mystery and polarity, you don't have to try hard to hold his attention because his attention is already invested in you. He is the one leaning forward. He's the one wondering. He is the one craving. And here's the truth men love to chase. They thrive on it. The moment they stop chasing, the attraction begins to fade. So when you embody mystery, you give him a reason to keep chasing, not because you are playing games, but because you naturally understand that desire lives in the unknown, in the spaces yet to be explored, in the parts of you that unfold slowly over time. When you think about what truly binds two people together, it is never just a surface attraction. It is never just a physical interaction. It is the depth of emotion that passes between them. Men, though often seen as driven by the physical, are in fact deeply impacted by emotional connection. A man may find himself drawn to a woman's appearance at first, but what keeps him, what makes him linger in thought long after she is gone, is the emotional experience he has when he is with her. This is the secret layer that transforms desire into addiction, the way he feels seen, heard, understood, and accepted in her presence. Emotional intimacy creates a bond so strong that it infuses every physical moment with meaning, and that meaning makes the physical irresistible. A man wants to feel safe in his vulnerability, though he may not admit it outright. The world often teaches men to suppress emotions, to be strong, to push through. But beneath that surface, there is a craving for release, for someone who will not only touch his body, but also touch his heart. When you offer that space, when you listen without judgment, when you acknowledge his feelings and let him know that his emotions are valid, you create a connection that very few people in his life are able to give. That connection becomes addictive because it provides something healing. He doesn't just feel attracted to you. He feels connected to you in a way that goes beyond logic. Consider how powerful it is when someone remembers the small details about you, when they care about the things you thought no one noticed. That's what emotional intimacy looks like. It's paying attention not just to the big moments, but to the subtle ones. When you can look at a man and see beyond the image he projects to the world, when you can sense his fears, his dreams, his struggles, and you hold space for them, you instantly set yourself apart. You're no longer just another woman in his life. You become the one who makes him feel understood in a way that few others do. That kind of understanding is magnetic because every human being, no matter how strong they appear, longs for that depth. When a man feels emotionally connected, the physical side of the relationship intensifies. Every touch carries weight. Every glance carries meaning. The physical becomes more than just an act. It becomes an expression of that bond. He feels addicted not only because of what you do, but because of how he feels in the process. He associates desire with safety, attraction with trust, intimacy with freedom. That is the formula that makes him come back again and again because it's not easy to find. Many can offer physical closeness, but very few can provide emotional sanctuary. Emotional connection also builds anticipation. When he knows that you truly understand him, he becomes eager to be around you, not just for the physical experience, but for the way you make him feel whole. You become his escape from the noise of the world, his comfort in moments of stress, his reminder that he doesn't have to be perfect to be loved. That anticipation creates a cycle. The more he opens up to, the more he desires you. The more he desires you, the more he opens up. It becomes a loop that feeds itself. And in that loop lies the foundation of addiction. To create this depth, it's important to bring authenticity. Emotional connection can't be forced. It has to come from a place of genuine care and presence. It's not about agreeing with everything he says. It's about being present enough to understand his perspective. It's not about fixing all his problems. It's about letting him know he doesn't have to carry them alone. Emotional intimacy grows when you can sit with him in silence, when you can share your own vulnerabilities, when you can laugh together about simple things, and when you can cry together over the weight of life. All these moments weave a fabric of trust, and that trust makes the physical chemistry more powerful than anything superficial could ever achieve. A man becomes addicted not just to what you give him, but to who he becomes when he's with you. If he feels more alive, more at peace, more confident, and more himself around you, he will crave that state of being. You become not just a person he desires, but a mirror that reflects the best version of himself. That is why emotional connection is so powerful, because it ties his desire for you with his desire for his own growth and happiness. He will never want to let go of the person who makes him feel that way. There's a language beyond words, a way of communicating that ignites desire long before the body ever comes into play, and it is through sensual communication. This is the art of using words, tone, body language, eye contact, and presence to create anticipation so powerful that a man finds himself hooked without understanding why. Sensual communication doesn't shout, it whispers. It doesn't demand, it invites. It doesn't rush, it lingers. When you learn to master this form of expression, you unlock a side of attraction that goes deeper than the physical because it engages the imagination. And once the imagination is engaged, the addiction begins to take root. Think about the power of words. Words can heal, inspire, excite, and ignite. When you speak with intention, when your words are laced with warm curiosity and subtle flirtation, you create an atmosphere where a man feels both confident and intrigued. It could be the softness of your tone when you're speaking to him, the way you stretch out a pause before delivering a thought, the playful rhythm in your ladder, or even the simplicity of saying his name in a way that feels like a caress. These are small things, but they awaken his senses, and he begins to associate your voice with pleasure. The sound of you becomes a trigger for desire, and he looks forward to every conversation because it's not just talking. It's an experience. Then there is body language, the silent yet powerful tool of sensual communication. A slight lean toward him when he speaks, the subtle touch of your hand brushing against it, the way you maintain eye contact a second longer than expected. These signals awaken something primal inside him. Men are wired to respond to these cues, even if they don't consciously recognize them. It's in the softness of your gestures, the confidence in your posture, the rhythm of your movements. When your body language carries intention, it sends a message stronger than any spoken words could deliver. It says, I am here. I am present. I am inviting you closer. That message lingers in his mind and builds a craving that grows with each interaction. Eye contact is one of the most overlooked yet magnetic forms of sensual communication. The eyes reveal more than the lips ever could. Holding his gaze, allowing the silence between words to be filled with a look that speaks volumes, can create tension so thick that it feels electric. A glance held too long, a look given at just the right moment, communicates desire, curiosity, and mystery all at once. It draws him in because it makes him feel chosen in that moment. A man becomes addicted to that look because it makes him feel desired in a way that is deeper than the surface level. It connects to his core, and he craves that recognition again and again. The art of sensual communication also lies in pacing. When you rush, the energy dissipates. When you slow down, linger, allow pauses, and create space, you build anticipation. Anticipation is one of the strongest forces in attraction. It is the waiting, the imagining, the suspense of what comes next that makes the experience unforgettable. When you communicate with subtle delays, when you let him feel that pull of wanting more, but not having it all at once, you create a cycle of desire that doesn't end quickly. He begins to replay conversations in his head. Remember the way you said something. Recall a look in your eyes, and that memory fuels his craving. Even the simplest gestures can carry sensual weight. The way you touch your hair, the way you sip from a glass, the way your hand rests when you're relaxed. All of these can be infused with an energy that feels magnetic. It's not about exaggeration. It's about intention. When your energy is aligned with sensuality, your everyday movements become alluring without effort. He notices, even if he doesn't admit it, he picks up on the little details. And those details stick in his memory, becoming triggers for attraction that pull him back to you. Tone is another piece of sensual communication that is often underestimated. A soft whisper, a playful tease, a slow and deliberate statement can change the entire mood of an interaction. Tone carries energy, and when your tone reflects warmth, confidence, and subtle desire, it creates an emotional charge. He doesn't just hear your words, he feels them. And once he begins to feel them, he starts craving them because they stir emotions he doesn't experience with everyone. The key to sensual communication is not trying too hard, but being intentional. It's about slowing down, being aware of the energy you're sending, and infusing your presence with warmth, confidence, and playfulness. It's about knowing that everything communicates. Your words, your tone, your body language, your eyes, your pauses. When all of these come together, you create an atmosphere where desire thrives naturally. This kind of communication builds a bridge between emotional and physical intimacy. It makes the transition from conversation to touch seamless, because the energy has already been building all along. By the time the physical comes into play, the desire has been multiplied, magnified, and charged with anticipation. A man doesn't become addicted to you because of a single interaction. He becomes addicted because every interaction carries this undertone of sensuality, because every moment leaves him wanting more, because every time he is with you, he feels that irresistible pull that begins with how you communicate long before he ever touches you. There is a magnetic power in knowing your worth, in carrying yourself with standards that speak louder than words ever could. When a woman fully embraces her value, when she operates from a place of self-respect and refuses to compromise on it, she naturally commands attention in a way that makes a man not only desire her, but become addicted to her presence. This is because men are wired to chase what they respect, to pursue what feels rare, and to stay loyal to what feels irreplaceable. When you know who you are and what you deserve, you become that rare jewel. The standard he cannot easily reach, and that in itself becomes intoxicating. A man can be fascinated by beauty, he can be entertained by charm, but what makes him stay is respect. Respect cannot be demanded, it has to be embodied. It shows in how you speak to yourself, how you allow others to treat you, the boundaries you set, and the way you refuse to settle for less than you deserve. When a man sees a woman who honors herself in this way, he feels an inner pull to rise to her level. He may not even be conscious of it, but her self-worth creates a challenge that excites him. He doesn't want to lose her, because deep down he knows women who carry this kind of presence are rare. That fear of losing her, that awareness that she cannot be easily replaced, is what makes him addicted. Standards are powerful because they filter. They filter out the men who are not ready, the men who cannot meet your energy, the men who would waste your time. And they call forth the men who are ready to show up fully, who are ready to give, who are ready to respect. A man becomes addicted to the woman who shows him that her love is a privilege, not something to be taken for granted. He becomes addicted to the chase, to the opportunity to prove himself, to the sense of pride that comes with earning her affection. Standards elevate the experience, and in doing so, they elevate his desire. This is why self-worth is not arrogance, it is clarity. It is the clear recognition that you are valuable and that your presence is a gift. When you walk into a room with that kind of awareness, people feel it. A man feels it instantly. It changes the way you speak, the way you move, the way you engage. You no longer need to convince anyone your value. You simply embody it, and that embodiment communicates everything. He becomes drawn to you not just because of what you look like, because of the energy of certainty that you carry. That certainty is rare in a world full of insecurity, and that rarity is what makes you unforgettable. Men crave the chase, but more importantly, they crave the sense of achievement that comes from earning something valuable. If everything is handed to them easily, it loses its allure. When you stand firm in your standards, you give him something to strive for. You challenge him to rise, and men are addicted to challenge when it is wrapped in admiration and femininity. He may be able to get attention from many, but the moment he realizes that your attention must be earned, it becomes precious. That preciousness creates emotional tension, and emotional tension fuels addiction. Self-worth also affects the way you handle intimacy. A woman who knows her value doesn't give her body as a tool for validation. She shares it as an extension of her already established worth. This shift changes everything. A man begins to associate intimacy with reverence, with something sacred, with something not easily accessible. It makes the physical experience deeper, more meaningful, and more addictive, because it's not just physical. It carries the weight of her standards, the power of her self-respect. That is why he keeps coming back. Because it is not a shallow experience. It is a privilege he does not want to lose. And when a woman with strong self-worth sets boundaries, she communicates that she is not afraid to walk away from what does not serve her. This alone amplifies desire, because men are wired to pursue what they cannot easily have. When he knows that you can walk away, that you are not dependent, that you are whole within yourself, it shakes him. It awakens a sense of urgency, a sense of commitment, a sense of accountability. He realizes that to keep you, he must give his best. That realization fuels addiction, because he sees you not as someone who needs him, but as someone he wants to work to deserve. Self-worth is also magnetic because it creates contrast. When you move through life grounded, confident, and full of your own value, you stand out against the noise of the world. A man will meet many who try to please, who try to bend themselves to be chosen. But when he meets the one who chooses herself first, he cannot forget her. She lingers in his thoughts. She haunts his imagination. She becomes the standard by which he measures others. That lasting impression is the hallmark of addiction because he is not just drawn to you in the moment. He is drawn to you in your absence. Desire thrives on variety, on movement, on the interplay between intensity and lightness. And this is where consistency of passion and playfulness becomes the key to making a man not just interested, but addicted. When intimacy becomes predictable, when every interaction feels the same, the energy starts to fade. But when you bring both fire and fun, when you blend seriousness with spontaneity, you create an experience that is alive, and that aliveness becomes unforgettable. Passion without play can feel heavy, and play without passion can feel shallow. But when the two come together in harmony, it becomes a rhythm that keeps him guessing, keeps him engaged, and keeps him craving more. Passion is about depth. It is about the intensity of how you connect, the fire in your eyes when you look at him, the way your energy fills the room when you're present. Passion is expressed in the way you kiss, in the way you hold his attention, in the way you pour yourself fully into the moment without holding back. That intensity makes him feel chosen, desired, and consumed in a way that touches something primal within him. Men crave passion because it awakens their instinct to give more, to match your energy, to meet your depth with their own. It tells him that he is not just another man in your life. He is someone who draws out the fullness of your desire. That message is powerful, and once he experiences it, he will crave it again and again. But passion alone cannot sustain desire forever. Too much intensity without balance can lead to burnout. This is where playfulness enters. Playfulness brings light, laughter, unpredictability, and joy in the connection. It shows him that intimacy is not just about fire, but also about fun. It is the teasing remark, the playful touch, the unexpected surprise, the laughter in between moments of heat. Playfulness reminds him that desire is not always serious. It is also about joy, about exploration, about feeling alive. When a man feels both the heat of passion and the lightness of play, he feels complete, and that completeness becomes addictive because it satisfies both sides of nature. Playfulness keeps the energy fresh. It prevents routines from becoming stale. It keeps conversations lively, and it makes intimacy something he looks forward to with eagerness. When you can laugh together, when you can turn simple moments into memories, when you can keep things light without losing the deeper connection. You create an atmosphere that he never wants to leave. He knows that being with you is not just about intensity, but also about joy. And that duality makes him crave the experience over and over. Consistency is also key here because desire cannot survive if passion and playfulness appear only occasionally. It must be a natural rhythm moving into the relationship. Consistency does not mean predictability. It means that he can trust that every time he's with you, he will feel alive. Sometimes it will be through deep passion, other times through laughter and play. But the thread that runs through is that he can always count on the connection being vibrant. This trust builds comfort, and comfort paired with excitement is the perfect recipe for addiction. He knows he will never feel doneness with you, and that assurance becomes irresistible. Think of how music works. It isn't just one note played over and over. It is the rise and fall, the crescendos and silences, the rhythm and melody working together to create something unforgettable. That is exactly how passion and playfulness should move within a relationship. When you bring passion, you give him fire. When you bring playfulness, you give him light. The blend keeps the song alive, and he becomes addicted to the music you create together. He doesn't just want to listen once. He wants to hear it again and again because it stirs something in him that ordinary connections cannot. Variety is a natural amplifier of desire. A man may remember a single night of passion, but when passion and playfulness show up consistently, they weave themselves into his memory as a lifestyle, not just a moment. He begins to associate you with the full spectrum of emotions: intensity, excitement, laughter, warmth. And that spectrum is what he cannot find easily elsewhere. He might find someone playful, he might find someone passionate, but finding both consistently in the same woman is what makes you unforgettable. The beauty of passion mixed with playfulness is that it makes intimacy unpredictable in the best way. He never knows if he will be pulled into the depth of your fire or caught in the lightness of your teasing. And that unpredictability is thrilling. It keeps his mind engaged, his emotions heightened, and his body craving more. Addiction is not built on sameness. It is built on the anticipation of what comes next, on the desire to keep exploring, to keep discovering. That's exactly what happens when you embody both passion and playfulness in a steady rhythm.